Well, it all began when a young man from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, came to this region in 1788. His name was Isaac Richardson Atlee. It was not too long after the American Revolution, a time when the country really started to expand. His father, Colonel Samuel Atlee, had served in George Washington's army and may have spoken fondly of some fellow officers who hailed from Maryland. We'll never know what it was for sure, but something inspired young Isaac to move to our state. Odds are he started his journey by traveling along the great Philadelphia wagon road from Lancaster to York, and then dropping south to the Chewan-Monocacy Road that ran from Baltimore to the area where our town sits today. If he had continued on his journey, he would have run into the mighty Monocacy Road itself, which connected Philadelphia to Frederick and went all the way to Winchester, Virginia. There it fed into other roads that took travelers as far as the Carolinas and Georgia. The Monocacy Road was one of the major highways of its time. When Atlee arrived in our area, he noticed another busy road that came up from the south. Folks called it the Buffalo Road, and it probably took its name from an old buffalo trail many, many years ago, long before the arrival of white settlers. The exact route of the Buffalo Road is lost to history. We do know that it traveled through the region where Mount Airy is today, and it may have started in Annapolis. There weren't many roads back in 1788, so when this Buffalo Road crossed a main tributary of the Monocacy Road, it created an important regional crossroads. From this one spot, you could travel all the way to Georgia by way of Frederick, or to Philadelphia by way of Taneytown or Baltimore, or you might head south to Annapolis. Farmers depended on these early interstate highways to ship flour, wool, and tobacco to big population centers. The Monocacy Road and its tributaries also helped to funnel thousands of Scotch-Irish and German settlers to Maryland's fertile Piedmont region. Back then, it could take 6 days to travel from Baltimore to Frederick over rutted roads, rivers, and streams, and people needed places to stay and water their horses and oxen along the way. Isaac Atlee was young and ambitious, and when he passed through our area and saw all of the wagon and stagecoach traffic, he had an idea.
This fruitful valley would be a fine place to put down roots, and the busy roads offer an exceptional opportunity for commerce. But what's missing are a tavern and stables to cater to man and beast alike during their journeys. And I'm the one to build them.
So Atlee did just that. His first tavern and stables were most likely made of logs, and his business prospered almost immediately. It received an added boost when 3 bubbling sulphur springs were discovered on the land at the foot of Bath Street, or what we call Main Street today. What's a sulphur spring? Why, it's a gift of nature, that's what. Sometimes water flowing out of the earth is rich in mineral salts and gases it picks up along the way. Since the time of the ancient Greeks, this water has been prized as a natural medicine or tonic. People claim that they feel much better after drinking it, and some who have skin infections or muscle diseases say that bathing in the water gives them relief from their pain. I myself think it's a bunch of poppycock. But anyway, the Sulphur Springs started attracting even more people to this crossroads. As Atlee's tavern prospered, he built himself a fine house around 1800, right near one of the springs. You'll find it at the lower end of Main Street. He needed all this room because by this time he had a wife, Mary, and 3 lively children. The small brick building in the front yard is a spring house, and inside you'll find the old Sulphur Spring still gurgling away. But in Atlee's time, there was a bathhouse on this site. People could bathe there or fill jugs with water that would provide them with a healthy drink later. The place got to be quite an attraction and became so popular with tourists that they started calling it Sulphur Springs. But this was just a nickname for the town. Its real name was New Windsor, just like it is today. And if you look at the colonial land grants for this area, you'll also see the town's future name. Around 1842, Atlee's son, James Clemson Atlee, decided to make improvements to a property that he had gotten from his father earlier. He turned it into a hotel and called it Whitehall. Soon a number of other hotels and boarding houses sprang up to meet the increased demand for lodging and food. So having a hotel and tavern at a busy crossroads and near some Sulphur Springs assured the Atlees, father and son, of a steady stream of thirsty travelers, and business really started to boom. But before I tell you any more about the speedy growth of the town, I should fill you in on the people who lived on this land long before Atlee and the other settlers arrived. And to tell that story, we have to go way back in time.